Good afternoon and welcome to Let's Talk. Resources and support for working caregivers is the topic for today. As you all know, TAWC, Tools and Advice for Working Caregivers, is an employee benefit program offered by Genzer Dubau, Genzer & Kona to help working caregivers who are caring for aging loved ones stay present and productive at work. First, we're going to talk about some available resources for people who need information about elder caregiving. First, there are support groups. They're all over Long Island. They cover different topics. There are some that are specific to certain illnesses. There are disease-specific organizations that are, again, all over the island. If your loved one is suffering from a specific illness, and you want to get more information or support regarding the illness and learn a little bit more about it, you may want to go to one of those organizations. There are geriatric care managers, and we'll go over all of this as the slides go on. The Susan C. Snow Caregiver Resource Center, local senior centers, and there's also County Office of the Aging. There's one in Suffolk and one in Nassau. So let's start with support groups. And what is a support group? And that's a group of people with a common experience or concern, and they provide each other with encouragement, comfort, and advice. They offer counseling, educational workshops, guidance, support, and information. So the question is, how will this help working elder caregivers? Fellow working elder caregivers can share coping strategies and exchange ideas with regard to caregiving and remaining present and productive at work. Support groups can serve as an outlet for elder caregivers as well, who are going through an extremely difficult time. So this will allow anybody really who's going through the process of caregiving to find other people who are going through the same thing, maybe talk about different ideas of how they were able to help their aging loved one and also stay at work. Perhaps they can even go so far as to, share home health aides or share contact information of people they might know who can help. So really a great thing to do. Of course, it's another thing to do. So that's one of the issues with support groups. But a lot of them will meet after work hours because the majority of caregivers, as we know, are working. Examples of some support groups. There are support groups specifically for someone who's caring for a sick spouse. Okay, so maybe a little bit of a different dynamic when it's a spouse that you're taking care of. So it's nice to have the support of other people who are also caring for a spouse. There are support groups for people who are caring for someone with Alzheimer's disease, people who are caring for someone with mental illness, ALS. They have support groups just for people who are caring for someone with ALS and also for the people who are suffering from ALS. There are support groups for people who are low vision or who are taking care of somebody with low vision. Typically with the elderly population, we're talking about macular degeneration and how difficult it then becomes for the elderly person to get around and to handle their activities of their everyday life, and their caregiver becomes more and more needed because if they're unable to see, they're unable to do most things on their own. There are support groups for caregivers of individuals who have Parkinson's, and also separate support groups for people who are caring for a veteran. So really, they're out there, and the trick is to get as much information as possible about these groups so that you can offer that as advice to your working elder caregivers. There are also disease-specific organizations. These are foundations, associations, or societies that provide fundraising. They provide education, support, and grants regarding specific diseases. The Long Island Alzheimer's Foundation is one of them. There's the Arthritis Foundation, American Cancer Society, American Diabetes Association, American Heart Association. These are just to name a few of the many organizations that are out there. When trying to assist your working elder caregivers, education is key. It's the most important part of helping these people, help their loved one and stay at work. Organizations such as these provide the education and a myriad of other services. As part of our webinar today, we have Christine Rice from the Long Island Alzheimer's Foundation with us, and she's going to share a little bit more specifically some information about their services and how they can help both the individual suffering from Alzheimer's and also how they can help the caregiver.
Good morning. My name is Christine Rice. I'm the Community Outreach and Event Coordinator for the Long Island Alzheimer's Foundation. We are located in Westbury at 1025 Old Country Road, Suite 115. We just recently moved there from Port Washington. We have a social adult day program for individuals who have been diagnosed with any form of dementia, Alzheimer's, Lewy bodies, whichever one, whatever diagnosis it is. We have an early, moderate, and late stage programs. In our new location, we have a separate room for each. We have social workers for each program assistants, volunteers, interns that come in and help. Our program runs Monday through Friday, 10 to 2, and we are currently looking to open up Saturday hours as well, because for caregivers, being a caregiver for somebody suffering with dementia is a full-time job. So in order for them to be able to continue to work, to be able to take care of their own families, have just extracurricular activities that they can do, knowing that their caregiver, their loved one is being taken care of, is a burden off of them, which enables them to take care of themselves as well. It's an easy process. If you come in, we have to have an intake with one of our social workers. They meet you and the individual who is diagnosed with the disease. There's some paperwork to fill out and a medical form from a doctor. And they just talk with you and find out different instances and issues that are going on with your loved one, and they figure out which program would be best suited for your loved one. It could change on a daily basis. You could come in and they could be in the early stage program, and with this disease there is no certain path as to which way it goes, so they could go from early, moderate, quickly, or they could be in each program for a long time. We also have an in-home respite program. Every other week for 2 hours, we can come in and spend time with your loved ones so that the caregiver can get out and do errands, spend time with their family, their friends, their children. It's a great opportunity for the individual to get some cognitive therapy as well. They do activities, the same activities that we do in our location, which is word games, cognitive stimulative games, trivia, arts and crafts, and exercise. We have yoga, dance therapy, music therapy. We have entertainers that come in during the week, singers. We have lots of volunteers, teenagers that come in and spend time with the individuals. So we also do that at home for you for those 2 hours every other week. There's also brain fitness workshops that we have. As I said, they're cognitive exercises just to keep the individual stimulated. We do that in our location in Westbury and also at other locations, at senior centers, libraries, different locations, wherever they feel the need is. And next one. We also have, as they were talking about, caregiver support groups. We have an adult children group, which meets every other Monday, 1 to 2 p.m., and that's at our facility in Westbury. And we also have a spouse support group every other Thursday, 1 to 2. We are looking to have more of those, and hopefully, as we were discussing, maybe after-hour support groups, figure out when the best time is for individuals that would work for their schedules. We also have phone counseling. There's social workers that are available 9 to 5 to be able to speak with you. We have resources and referrals for different information that you might need. If you need an aide to come into your home, any kind of technical things to help you in your house, we have all the resources that you need. There's also a program that we started. It's called Whimsical Wednesdays, and it's a free lunch once a month, Wednesdays at Tesoro Restaurant in Westbury. And we have been given a grant from a certain foundation, which enables us to continue this. A loved one and their caregiver can come for free, and we have a dance company called Rhythm Break Cares that's based in Manhattan that focuses solely on music and dance therapy for individuals with Alzheimer's or any form of dementia. It's a wonderful afternoon. It's great for the individual who's diagnosed. They get up and dance. Music is an enormous therapeutic way for them to relax and enjoy. And it also turns out to be a support group for the caregivers. People can get up and dance, but they also can sit and talk to other people who are going through the same things that they are. so they know that they're not alone. We also, I was just talking about music and memory program, we just got certified in that we're going to have what's called a snoozlin room in our new location. We found that music is very therapeutic and calming for individuals. Our program assistants are programming our iPods that we have for their individual music that they like, for their background or history. So they can connect with it and they start singing and they truly enjoy it. What we're looking for also in the future, as I said, is a Saturday program from 10 to 2 so that you could drop your loved ones off. A lot of caregivers have young children and they have sports and other activities that they need to do on the weekends, and that will enable them to have their time with their family as well, knowing that their loved one is taken care of. So as much as our foundation is for helping the individual with the diagnosis, it's just as much for helping the caregiver be able to continue their lives and know that their loved one is being taken care of.
Great. Thank you so much, Christine. Okay, in addition to these wonderful organizations that help both the individual who's diagnosed with the disease and also the caregiver, there are a group of professionals out in the universe called geriatric care managers. And they are professionals who coordinate care of the elderly to meet their long-term care needs and improve their quality of life. They're knowledgeable in the areas of health, family dynamics, psychology, advocacy, and more, and they can establish a plan of care and bring in additional professionals to help accomplish a goal. So a lot of times a geriatric care manager can basically come into the home, check and make sure that the home is safe, make recommendations if things need to be updated or changed, and they can assist with coming up with a plan of care to help the aging loved one remain at home or in whatever program they're in and allow the caregiver to go to work. As Christine mentioned, caregiving can be a full-time job. So if you have that full-time job and you also have your regular full-time job, at some point you need to call in for assistance. And a geriatric care manager can help a working caregiver and can help your workforce by taking some of the burden off of the elder caregiver, especially when their loved one is out of state. So if you're an HR professional and you have someone in your workforce who's caring for a parent who lives, halfway across the country, they're going to be tied up on the phone regularly, checking in, making appointments, and doing whatever they need to do. Having a geriatric care manager in the city where they are, where the loved one is, will be a huge help, because that can be basically the liaison between the caregiver and all of the other professionals who are involved in the plan of care. Then we have the Susan C. Snow Caregiver Resource Center. It is the Long Island's only center dedicated to providing comprehensive information on nearly all issues faced by seniors and caregivers. The Susan C. Snow Resource Center, Caregiver Resource Center, is actually located in our offices at 225 Broad Hollow Road, Suite 200, and it is full of information regarding all of these topics you see here on the slide: assisted living facilities, nursing homes, companion services, geriatric care managers, respite care, senior centers. So the shelves are packed with information regarding anything really a caregiver would ever need when caring for an elderly loved one. The center is open. The resource center is open every day from 9 to 5. It's free of charge. Every Tuesday from 3 to 5, there is an attorney that staffs that room. So if you have questions and you want to just sit down and ask a few questions without having to go through a full consultation, that's when you would come in between 3 and 5 on Tuesdays. And on Thursdays, you watch for our e-blasts, because every Thursday we have a preferred provider from Tools and Advice for Working Caregivers who will also be available to answer any questions. This month we have somebody for pre-planned funerals, and if you have questions about what that means and how that works and how it can help prepare caregivers for what might be ahead, it's a great topic, and people can come in and ask questions. So every month the Thursday changes, the person who's coming in on Thursdays. Then there's senior centers. Senior centers are a home away from home for many older individuals. Most centers will offer exercise clubs, games, special events, food, friends, discussion groups, and more. As Christine said earlier, some of the organizations like the Long Island Alzheimer's Foundation will provide services in senior centers. They're a great place for your aging loved one to spend their day. This can take a great deal of pressure off the working caregiver. During business hours, the caregiver can be sure that their loved one is active, stimulated, and in the company of others. So a senior center, there can be a bus that picks up your loved one. They go to the center. They can do some activities. They can have lunch. Perhaps they're in a book club or some sort of discussion group, and then the bus brings them home. So at least for the more active, the loved ones that are a little bit more active, this is a way to know that they're engaging in something during the day and not just sitting at home in front of the television set. And then finally, we have the county's Office of the Aging. The local Office of the Aging can serve as an incomparable resource for working elder caregivers. And they can provide information on different services like home repair, nutrition, Meals on Wheels, for example, different types of transportation, EPIC, which is dealing with medications, insurance, housing, SNAP, which is food stamps, property tax exemptions, HEAP, if somebody needs assistance with their heating. So the Office of the Aging is an excellent resource for people who need information on these more specific items that are not really covered by any other resource like a senior center. Elder care is the new child care. Working elder caregivers must seek out resources and educate themselves regarding services and support available for their aging loved ones. Employers who arm their workforce with this knowledge will position themselves as thought leaders in their industry, offering cutting-edge benefits. Assisting employees in navigating the elder care landscape will decrease absenteeism, downtime, and turnover by keeping your elder caregivers present and productive at work. So please call on us if you have any questions about this, and let's educate our workforce. Thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next time.